position that has been hopefully given to us solely by man, but given to us by God, which means our allegiance is to God and His purposes and not to ourselves. And then as we see this, as we come into corporate worship, we come into ministry with one another, we come to serve. They are never, by definition, islands unto themselves. Their example, if only inspirational, is not true leadership. Leadership involves having followers and as many and as variegated the groups. The varied and partial will be the scrutiny and conclusions. What measuring questions, principles, qualifications, and outcomes are justified and precise enough to determine the worth and success of any leader? Leaders, therefore, are not just defined by characteristics unique to themselves, or are to be judged by those they lead, for this system can be a flawed folly. The leader should be more honestly evaluated, not by his or her personal accomplishments, but by the person or standard they profess to follow. It is much safer to judge the expected outcomes of the leader's life if we know who or what influences them. It's a key point. Let's stop right there. Anybody want to debate that with me or chime in? Evaluating the outcomes of an individual's life, a leader's life.
I always got something to say, but I kind of understand the outcome because you can have a leader that, like in the churches today, you have some leaders, they have, how can I say, they have to be more examples because a lot of them do, and we're not perfect. And and this is, once we understand that we're not perfect, then I think all of that will fall into play in more of understanding and praying for our leaders because they're not perfect. They're going to do things that we may not like. We may see them on the outside, like they do something that we may not like, but you got to understand we're still in this body. So we're going to do things. So yes, they do have to, hold a certain standards because they're surrounded by people that are watching, and uphold it at all times. But, we're still in this body and we're still going to do things. But I say to myself and to everybody in here, once we understand that that we're not perfect and we're going to do things and things are going to happen, then will everybody else understand, even people that are in leadership. Because they have times too, they have trouble, they got things going on in their life. Nobody's perfect, so I kind of understand the point that you're getting to.
Okay. Thank you. Someone else? Is this a hard issue to kind of grapple with? Is that why the silence? Is it something new? Yeah, obviously, what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to think. I'm asking you to think prayerfully. Because the direction of your life is going to be one if you are a leader. And the thing is, you're a leader whether you hold a position or not. As a Christian,
yes.
you use the term example. Yeah, we are an example and we are a witness. And in that regard, we set a standard that we ask others to emulate, to follow, to consider to follow. But part of what I'm trying to get at is the evaluation of effectiveness. Okay? The evaluation of effectiveness. Is an effective church leader one who pastors a church of 1,000 or a church of 10? Is an effective missionary one who plants 100 churches or makes one convert in the 40 years of their missionary life? What are the measurements? What are the proper measurements to evaluate a leader? I think it falls more upon the understanding of the example that they are establishing, and not just the example, but the surrenderedness of their hearts.
Exactly.
We're called to obedience. And if we are measuring our effectiveness by our obedience, the outcomes become superfluous. They become not necessarily meaningless, but they are not the proper way to evaluate one's life, one's ministry, one's effectiveness.